What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our next video in the intermediate guide. Today we'll be talking about pennants, flags, and wedges. This is just another type of candlestick formation. Basically, the pennant, flag, and wedge, they're all the same type of formation. The only thing that differs are these supports and resistances here. What makes them look like flags or pennants or wedges, as you can see. So the three types of flags are continuation patterns, which means once it goes through the pattern or once it goes through the formation, it will continue on whichever trend it is. So we have two types of trends. Like I mentioned in the last video, we have bearish trends and bullish trends. Bullish trends, like I said, are upward trending. Bearish are downward trending. So when you have bullish pennants, flags, or wedges, the price will be going up, just like you see here with the flagpoles, except they'll be at an angle, of course, because price doesn't just move in a straight up and down line. It'll be sideways. So you could just think of them rotated a little bit, maybe at a 45-degree angle or whatnot. But you initially start with a flagpole, and that lets you know that this is a flag, a pennant, or a wedge, rather than just some random price formation. So it'll start with the uptrend, and then it'll start to consolidate within these support and resistances. So the price will bounce around. If it's in the pennant, it'll bounce around here and start to get closer and closer to a certain price point. The pennant, most of the time, the slopes of these support and resistances are the same, just opposite. So this will go down just about the same amount the bottom support is going up. The flag, they're parallel, and the wedge, both of them, and as you can see, both of them are downward trending, but this one's a little bit more downward. They come and they meet at a certain point. It basically looks like a wedge, a tilted wedge. So yeah, like I said, we have the two types, the bullish and the bearish, and that just depends on whether the trend is initially going up and then does the price formation, or if it's coming downwards and then does the price formation. So let's go through and let's look at some examples. The thing with these pennants, flags, and wedges, it's not too important for you to know exactly which one which is called, because they're all continuation patterns. So it's going to be the same action. It's going to do this action where it's bouncing around the support and resistance, and it's going to continue on that trend. If it's upwards, it's going to continue upwards. If it's downwards, it's going to continue downwards. So if you look at the examples that I have, they won't fit exactly with the shape of these pennants, flags, and wedges, but they'll be pretty close. So for example, here I could look at this and look at it like as if it's a pennant. They're not exactly parallel, either a pennant or a wedge. They're not exactly parallel, but they are, they're getting closer to each other. If we were to extend the lines, they touch at some point. But we're just looking at this price action here. So we have the flagpole, which you need to have for this to be a true pennant or flag or wedge formation. And then you'll have the consolidation where the price starts to bounce around, right? And in this case, it's bouncing around. I'd say it's a flag. It's bouncing around pretty parallel or pretty flat going this direction. And then the price continues. It breaks the formation, and it continues on that upward trend. Starts upward here, does its formation, and it continues upwards. Same thing here. So we have the flagpole goes upwards. This one, we probably look at it more like a pennant because it's getting closer, or a flag. Doesn't really matter. It's all the same formations, or it's all the same continuation patterns. We got the flagpole, we got the price bouncing around. We got it bouncing around, and then it breaks and continues upwards. In some cases, it might not continue too far upward. As you can see from here, it just continued to go up. It broke here, and it continued to go up all the way here. In this case, it broke here, continued to go all the way up here. It might have gone up this high and went down, or but it just lets you know that the continuation of the trend will be upwards from the end of this formation. Now we have some upside down pennants and flags. This is probably more like a pennant. So we got the flagpole going all the way down, and unlike this here, or especially unlike this flagpole that we have here, this one was mostly greens, as you can see. It doesn't have to always be greens. It just has to be a strong trend. a very strong trend, as you can see here. And you see the consolidation, and like I said, it doesn't have to always go all the way, a ridiculous trend after it breaks. In this case, it went just about as far as it did when it came down to start the formation. So, but you see, it continued on this trend. It wasn't just a complete reversal of trend. It came here, bounced, and continued on this trend. And then we have the same thing happen here. This is more of a wedge, as you can see. The wedge looks like a pennant, except kind of, sloped downwards. But the same thing. The price comes down, plays in between those supports and resistances, and then it continues its trend. And the interesting thing is, you can always find a flag or a pennant on these pullbacks that we have. Like, you see, the trend is here, it's going down, and it pulls back. Once again, it's going down, it pulls back. So you could really find it in a lot of places, but depending on how much time you're trying to look over. If you're trying to trade longer periods of time, you kind of want to find out where it's going to be that bigger pullback and not just one of these smaller ones, because you might not make as much profit off of the smaller ones. But once again, here's a pretty big one. It's a long flagpole, and then you got the little pennant formation or wedge formation, and then it continues. Same thing here. You got a really small one. This will probably be like a flag, and then it continues. So I mean, you just continue to see it all throughout the graph. But yeah, that's the pennant, flag, and wedge formation. It's a continuation formation, so it's gonna follow that trend that it was on before it did the little consolidation in these areas. So remember that. Also remember that you need to have a strong flagpole. If you don't have a strong flagpole, it's probably not gonna do what you're expecting it to do. Also, it doesn't happen every time, but more often than not, more likely than not, you're gonna see that continuation pattern happen. But yeah, that's pennants, flags, and wedges. Y'all stay tuned for the next videos. Soon we'll be moving into indicators as we get closer to wrapping up the intermediate guide. So y'all like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.